Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Hello everyone, welcome to the video lecture series of operating system. In today's session, we are continue with the topic of process management. Myself Krunal Panchal, your instructor. Today's lecture agenda is to understand the concept of process state diagram. Okay, so before going to discuss process state diagram, first of all, we will discuss what is process state, and then we will discuss a state diagram. Then we will jump to process state diagram. Okay, so let us discuss process state first. Okay, as we have discussed in the last session, what is process? Process is program in execution. Means what? Process is nothing but a program in execution. Okay, so now what is process state? So process state is nothing but a state of a process which is defined by the current activity of the process. Okay, as process executes, it changes its states during its lifespan. Okay, so it will change its state during its execution as far as operating system is concerned. Okay, now once we understood process and process state, now we are going to discuss what is state diagram. So I will demonstrate that stuff with the help of diagram, but before going to demonstrate it, I am telling you what is state diagram. So state diagram is composed of a set of states and transition between states. Okay, set of states and transition between states. So what is transition and what is states? Okay, and how we can represent in terms of diagram, that I will tell you in later slide. Okay, now as far as process is concerned, each process may be in one of the following state as far as process state diagram is concerned. Now we are going to discuss process state diagram, which consists of 7 states. Out of 7 states, 5 states are basic states and 2 states are additional states. So what are those states? Let us discuss. So first one is new state. Okay, then second one is ready state, third one is running state, fourth one is waiting state, fifth one is terminated state. So these 5 states are nothing but a basic state of process state diagram, and there are 2 additional states we have, as I told you, which is nothing but suspend ready state and suspend wait state. Okay, these 2 are additional state. So let us discuss each states in detail with the help of process state diagram. Okay, or we can say life cycle of a process. So process state diagram is look like this, in which, as I told you, there are 7 states and each state is represented in terms of circle. Okay, and the line, or we can say directed line between states, or we can say between circles, is nothing but a transition between state. Okay, so as I told you earlier, in the previous slide, a state diagram is nothing but a composed of set of states and transition between states. So now we can easily come to know that based on this figure, the circles represent states and arrow represents transition between states. Okay. Now let us discuss each state in detail. So first of all, we will discuss the basic states and then we will discuss the additional state. Okay, so what are the basic states we have? So out of 5 basic states, the first basic state is nothing but a new state. You can see. So what is new state? So new state is located in the secondary memory. So let me clear that stuff. There are two types of memory. One is primary memory and second is secondary memory. So primary memory is nothing but RAM and ROM, and secondary memory is nothing but a hard disk. Okay. So new state is located in secondary memory. So secondary memory secondary memory space is higher than the space of main memory, that you know very well, because in the market secondary memory 1 TB of hard disk is available in the market, and as far as main memory is concerned, we have maximum 8 to 16 GB RAM we have. So as far as storage is concerned, the main memory has certain limitations as compared to secondary memory. Okay, so new state is, whenever we are talking about new state, means what? Process is about to create. Process is not yet created when it is located, or when it is in new state. Okay, so process, we cannot say that it is nothing but a process when it is in a new state. We can say that technically we can say that it is nothing but a program. Okay, because it is not yet created, it is not fetched from the secondary memory to a main memory yet. Yes, so that's why whenever we are talking about new state is located in secondary memory, and in this case process is about to create. Okay, it is selected from the secondary memory by the operating system and put it into a main memory. Okay, so that is nothing but the scenario of new state. Okay, now the transition between new state and ready state is nothing but the process is going to create, okay, during that transition period. Okay, once the process is created, now it is loaded into a main memory. So the second state of process state diagram is nothing but a ready state, in which ready state contains a different set of we can say processes. Now once that program, or once process is created and once it is entered into a ready queue, or you can say ready state, then we can call as process. Okay, and that ready queue is located into a main memory. So again, whenever we are dealing with main memory, the size is limited, that you know very well. Okay, so we cannot fetch all the programs from the secondary memory to main memory for execution, because of size limitation, because of storage limitation, we can say. Yes. Okay, so when we are talking about ready state means what? It will contain it will maintain one queue in which the processes are ready for execution. Ready for execution means what? They are in waiting state. Okay, or they are waiting for having the resources for execution, for its own execution, we can say. Okay, so new state is located in secondary memory, ready state is located in main memory. That you have to keep in your mind. Once processed, now the next state is what? Running state, or you can say run state. Okay, so what it means actually? What is running state? So you can see the transition between ready state towards running state, that will be that activity will be happened by the scheduler. So now what is scheduler? Scheduler, we will discuss scheduler in detail in the next session, but you need to keep these things in your mind. What is scheduler? Scheduler is simply selecting one process which is ready for execution in the ready queue. Okay, so what is the task of scheduler? Scheduler will simply pick one process from the ready queue, and what dispatcher will do, because you can see the transition between ready and running state. I have mentioned scheduled slash dispatch. So schedule means what? Scheduler will schedule that process for execution, and dispatcher, what dispatcher will do? Dispatcher is one type of program, we can say. It will simply switch the process which is selected by the scheduler from the ready queue to the running state and running to ready state. Okay, so that is the task of dispatcher. What is the task of scheduler? Scheduler will simply pick one of the process from the ready queue which is ready for execution, and dispatcher the rest of the task. Rest task will be performed by the dispatcher. So means what? Dispatcher will pick that process and give it to the CPU, okay, for execution. Now we are at running state. So when we are talking about running state, okay, whenever you are talking about running state, what will happen in this case? So there are three cases can be possible when we are talking about running state. So whenever process entered into a running state, it means what? The CPU is assigned. CPU is already assigned to that process, and now process is going starting its execution. Now once it's completed its execution, it goes to a terminated state. Okay, that I have shown with the help of transition between running state and termination state. Okay, so once everything is smoothly happened, in that case only 4 states are required as far as process execution is concerned. Only 4 states are required. Okay, one is new state, second one is ready state, third one is running state, and fourth one is terminated state. Means what? If somebody asks you how many minimum number of states are required for process execution, in that case you can tell them minimum number of states are nothing but new, ready, running, and termination. Okay, so these 4 states are minimum number of states which is required to execute that process. Okay, now the case one we have discussed. Now what is the second case as far as running state is concerned? Okay, so running state, when process is executing a task in the CPU, now what will happen? If any high priority process came into the existence, what will happen? Okay, in that case that process needs to give the CPU at earliest. So what will happen? Because ongoing process is there in the running state, means what? CPU is busy to handle the existing process for its execution. So now what will happen if any high priority process comes? So that process needs to give the CPU at the earliest. So what will happen? The process which is running in the running state, it will stop its execution. It will save its current state of information in the process control block, and then it will shift it to the ready queue again. Okay, and the remaining execution will be done by that process once it gets the chance, okay, from the ready queue once again. Okay, now in that case, this preemption, this is nothing but this is called as preemption. The transition, you can see the transition from running state to ready state. The transition from running state to ready state is nothing but the scenario of non-preemption, the scenario of preemption. Okay, because whenever we are talking about multi-programming with preemption, we can say that transition from running state to ready state represents the multi-programming. Because why it is called as multi-programming, because in ready queue there are number of processes according to the capacity of that main memory. There are number of processes are ready for execution, so that's why it is called multi-programming. So if you want to increase the degree of multi-programming, you can fetch more and more number of processes and locate that process into a main memory for execution. Okay, so that preemption activity can be performed if any high priority process occurs, if any high priority process occur into the system or gets entered into a ready queue. Second is if time quantum expires, means if any time quantum expires. Okay, this is based on the different scheduling algorithms that we are going to discuss in the upcoming sessions, but these things you have to keep in your mind. A process we can execute or we can say to increase the degree of multi-programming, or we can say in the case of multitasking or time sharing operating system. Okay, in that case we need to do the execution of the process based on the fixed time quantum, irrespective of how much time it requires for its execution. We are forcefully preempting that process once time period is expired. Okay, so in that case again the ongoing process will stop its execution for a while, store the current state of information in it. Okay, and then again switch back to the ready state for the next chance. Okay, now these are the four different states we have discussed. Now the fifth state is nothing but waiting, or we can say block state. Waiting, or we can say block state. So in the case of waiting state, or we can say block state, what will happen? During execution of the process requires, during the execution of the process requires some IO operations. Like if process requires printer for its execution, or if process require some input device. Okay, require some input from the keyboard, or we can say mouse, or we can say from the scanner. In that case, what will happen? The process will be shifted from the running state to the waiting state. Why? Because if you move that process from running state to ready state, in this case, what will happen? Again it will, after some time, again it will schedule, okay, for execution, and again it will come back to the running state. But that task cannot be fulfilled by the CPU, because that process requires input output device for its execution. So that operations will be performed in the separate state. Okay, so that's why waiting state and you can say block state is there as a fifth stage in process state diagram. Okay, so the process will keep in waiting state, okay, until it completes its IO operation. Once it finishes its IO operation, it will again shift it to the ready state. Okay, now now there are two additional states we have. As we have discussed in the previous slide. One is suspend ready and second one is suspend wait. So let us discuss these two states. So what is suspend ready? Means there are chances, as I told you, the ready state, running state and waiting, or we say block states, are located in main memory, and new state, suspend ready state and suspend wait states are located into a secondary memory. Yes, so definitely the storage difference between these two different set of states is there in terms of storage. So what will happen in the case of suspend ready? Why these two additional states are required in this case? So when we're talking about new processes are coming in the ready queue, okay, at a particular moment of time there are chances the main memory or we say ready queue is full, okay, and if any high priority process come into the existence, what will happen? So if a process having highest priority, that process needs to be executed anyhow, okay, but at that time the queue is full. So what will happen? Some what operating system will do? Some low priority process will be shifted from the ready state to the suspend ready. Okay, so that the highest priority process can enter into a ready state and it will be scheduled for execution. Okay, in the CPU. So that's why the suspend ready state is required. Okay, so it will be temporarily it will be suspend its task. Okay, and again once the storage is available, again it will resume its execution. Okay, same thing is applicable in the case of suspend wait. What will happen in the case of suspend wait? When process when process is uh, suppose for example, suppose if you have 10 processes and 10 processes are available in the ready queue and they are ready for execution, and out of 10 processes, okay, out of 10 processes, 10 process requires IO devices, okay, and the limitation of waiting state, or we can say a block state, can contain only 9 process for its execution for IO. So what will happen if when process enters into a ready queue, again it will go to the running state, but it not required it not required CPU for its execution, because there are two types of processes. One is uh, IO bound process and second one is the CPU bound process. So CPU bound, what is CPU bound process? CPU bound process requires more time to execute in the CPU. That type of process can be considered as CPU bound process. And IO bound process means what? The process which requires more time for its execution on the IO devices. Okay, so that type of process would be considered as IO bound process. Okay, so what will happen in this case, when the main memory of blocking state is full, okay, so what will happen if any new process is arrived at the waiting state? So that process cannot be stored in the waiting block, or we can say waiting state. Yes, so that process will be suspended, okay, to the suspend wait state, okay, for its later execution. But this thing, one thing you have to keep in your mind, IO operation can be performed whether that process is located into a main memory, else it is located into a secondary memory. Means what? Whether it is in local memory, or we can say whether it is in secondary memory, the execution of the IO operations can be performed. So once it is suspended from the waiting, or we say block state, to a suspended wait state, still the process can execute its task. Means what? IO operation can continue. Okay, and once the space is available, in that case again it will switch back to a waiting state from the suspend wait state. Now what is the relationship between these two states? One is suspend ready and suspend wait state. So what will happen? As I told you, during suspend wait state, process E is executing its task. Okay, as far as IO operation is concerned. Okay, once it's completed its task, what will happen? That process needs to be stored or is shifted to the ready state, but it cannot directly go to the ready state. So that's why that completed IO operation process needs to be shifted from suspended wait to a suspended ready state for later execution. Means what, after some time, okay, from the suspend ready state it will directly reach to a ready state for its remaining execution. Okay, so this is all about process state diagram. I hope it was clear to you. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one.